Olympic Mafia, who is attending to all important matters concerning government communications. Let me say welcome to our distinguished guests. This is not Madam Macdella first time here. She's been here before. But this is the team from the National Food Assistance Agency. This is the first time. So on behalf of the senior management team of the Ministry of Information, I'd like to welcome Mr. Boakai. He is the Director General at the National Food Assistance Agency. And of course, Madam Macdella, she is one of the potential women in Liberian politics, a political leader of a political party, as a matter of fact. And she is, most importantly, she is the senior political advisor to His Excellency President Joseph Boakai. Why are they here? Specifically, we'll be speaking to something very important that borders on Liberia's bid for the non-permanent seat at the UN Security Council. Now, I have to say that the campaign for that bid has since been launched by the government of Liberia. It was launched internationally, it was launched locally, but of course, it entails a lot of things to make it happen. We are going on opposed, but we need to obtain a required number of votes to get the seat. So, some of you who've been following the Dean of the President's Cabinet, the Foreign Minister, she's been moving from country to country, making a case for Liberia to earn the support of member states of the United Nations to get a seat. And so, Madam Macdella, who is the political advisor to His Excellency's senior political advisor to the Excellency President Boakai, she's here to speak on the fundraiser that has been organized to support the event. And so when she mounts the podium, she'll be speaking about the fundraiser, and she will also speak to other issues surrounding Liberia's bid for the non-permanent seat of the UN Security Council. Our other distinguished guests from the National Food Assistance Agency, Mr. Boakai, will speak on some of the initiatives that the agency has been involved in. Of course, the National Food Assistance Agency, not a lot is known about it. And like other entities in government, that were not very proactive, not much was known about them, his entity, the National Food Assistance Agency, is trying to revive it. So they are here to speak to some of the initiatives that they have embarked upon. He will go in detail. It's accompanied, of course, by a team of senior managers from the entity. On the mounts the podium, he will do the proper introduction that is needed. As a country, we have a history. History that points to our deadly past, and efforts are being made by the government to bring to a closure the experience that we had as a country during the Civil War. The president last year constituted the office of the War and Economic Crimes Court. That office was created through an executive order. The executive order has the validity of the year. And so the President, in his wisdom, has officially renewed Executive Order number 131, now Executive Order number 148. And this Executive Order basically reaffirms the Boakai administration commitment to the establishment of War and Economic Crimes Court for Liberia. This renewal ensures the continued operation of the office for the establishment of the War and Economic Crimes Court, which, of course, like I stated, was created on May 2nd, 2024. And the function, the duty of that office is to spearhead the process of justice and reconciliation for atrocities committed during Liberia's civil war. Of course, the renewal comes in the wake of calls from local and international human rights organizations urging the government of Liberia to maintain the momentum in addressing the legacy of impunity. The Office for War and Economic Crimes Court, under the leadership of the Executive Director, Councillor Jara A. Babu, has been instrumental in laying the groundwork for the court's establishment, despite facing challenges such as funding constraints and administrative issues. The renewed executive order reinforces the establishment of the Office for War and Economic Crimes Court with responsibility to include conducting comprehensive research and consultation to design a model for special war crimes court that aligns with international standards, drafting legislation for the establishment of the National Anti-Corruption Court to address corruption cases linked to the Civil War and subsequent periods, engage with international partners to secure funding and technical assistance necessary for the court's establishment and operations, recommending the scope, jurisdiction, and operational framework of the proposed court. The President's decision to renew Executive Order number 131, now Executive Order number 148, underscores his administration's dedication to upholding the rule of law and addressing past injustices, thereby ending the culture of impunity in Liberia. The government acknowledges the importance of transparency and adequate sourcing and international collaboration in successfully establishing the War and Economic Crimes Court for Liberia. Following the release of the executive order, one of our very important international partners with long historical ties to our country, the U.S., the United States of America, the issue escaped me. What did it say? That the U.S. Embassy supports President Boakai's decision to renew the mandate of the Office of the War and Economic Crimes Court. The office can now continue its work to bring long overdue justice to Liberia and end the culture of impunity that will make a decided contribution to Liberia's long-term prosperity and stability, unquote. That was the statement issued by the U.S. Embassy in November. So they are following And their statement in response to the President's action clearly testify that they too are interested, they are a partner to Liberia interested in the progress of our country. The WIAC Liberia has commenced the conduct of examinations, and we'll talk the true light on it because it's very important. Something new is happening. The National Office of the West African Examination Council, WIAC, on Monday, April 28, 2025, commenced the conduct of its school candidates examination in Liberia. The exercise began with the conduct of the junior high school certificate examination on Monday and Tuesday, that is April 28th to 29th. 53,562 ninth graders from junior high schools across the country are expected to write the exam at 396 centers, while 47,008 sixth graders from primary schools across the country will write the primary school certificate examination at 397 centers on Wednesdays and Thursdays, April 30th and May 1st, respectively. The Liberia National Assessment Test will be administered to 35,002 third graders across the country on Friday, May 2nd. That test will be administered on the various campuses. The conduct of the West African Senior Certificate Examination will be administered to 53,140 12th graders across the country at 377 centers from Thursday, May 15, 2025 to Tuesday, June 10, 2025. The head of National Office of WIAC Liberia, Mr. Boto, has called on candidates and school authorities to ensure to avoid acts of examination malpractices during and after the conduct of these exams. Just lastly, before we talk to invite Madam Macdella to the podium, while the press conference the other day, somebody asked, all the police invited Prophet Key for alleged act of forgery with the neck, while they haven't invited Mr. Dorcopo. And the response to that question was that the university administration was conducting their own investigation. That investigation has concluded. The authority at the university has moved to act by dismissing employees who facilitated academic fraud. So the University of Liberia has now named those dismissed in relation to Mr. Dorcopo's fake graduation situation. They include Mr. Arthur B. Sharp, Chairman, Public Administration Department, Mr. Troson Ruiz, Instructor and Cleaning Officer, Department of Public Administration, Mr. Boakai K. Swa, Coordinator and Teaching Assistant, Dean's Representative on the Clearing Team, Public Administration Department, Mr. W. Rams Darami, Deputy Registrar, Office of Enrollment Services. Others dismissed include Mr. Sidra K. H. Pa, Assistant Dean of Records and Registration, Mr. Foley Jaliba, Office Assistant to the Dean of Records, Mr. Jeniton Panga, Support Specialist, Office of Information Technology. The U has also suspended Mr. Aaron B. Sidney, Second Associate Vice President and Registrar respectively. The university has reinstated, meanwhile, Ms. Nancy Quickly, data entry clerk, business analyst. Mr. Augustine Kapi, coordinator, business analyst. The decision of investigation of acts related to several instances of alleged academic fraud and misconduct at the University of Liberia, including the case that has been referred to in the instance as Mr. Dog as well in other cases. So the University of ITEX, the doubt can now be clarified. That is why when these things happen, we have to give the authorities in charge the chance to do the work. So we commend the University of Liberia for taking such an action, because we do believe there should be no room for fraudulent activities anywhere in academic institutions. That being said, I was in flight when our distinguished minister arrived. Let me recognize his presence. Honorable PI, you are welcome. Now, I will now stand on the existing protocol to invite to the podium the President's senior political advisor, Madam Macdella.
Good morning, everyone, members of the press. I want to thank Minister Pia for granting me this opportunity to be here, and to Daniel Sando, and to all of the staff of the Ministry of Information. It's good to be here again with all of you. This is, as Minister Sando said, it's not my first time. Been here previously when I was here to announce the first National Investment Conference in Liberia. And I'm back here again this morning with you to publicly announce or present some information on an upcoming event that is critical to our country, to our administration. As Minister Sandler said, Liberia is currently campaigning for a seat on the United Nations Security Council, non-permanent member seat. Liberia needs needs 125 votes to secure the seat. And having that seat would be a great privilege for Liberia. It would be a platform for Liberia to be on the international and world stage. This makes Liberia a more desirable country for negotiation, because Liberia will be making decisions around critical global issues like peace previously. And you also know that Liberia represented the first female president of the General Assembly, which was Madam Angie Brooks. And so Liberia has played a critical role. Now, this is a Ministry of Foreign Affairs activity. You're wondering why Macdella Cooper, the president's political advisor, senior political advisor, will be involved with this. The campaign team, who have been doing a fantastic job under the leadership of Sarah Bessel, Minister Sarah Bessel, and with all of the former foreign ministers have been advisors on a committee, a steering committee advising this activity. I came on board to serve or to support the fundraising activities, because you know, all of these things require funding, requires resources. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs have been doing a fantastic job going across the world, meeting with various head of states, asking and soliciting their support. And it is our duty here at home to make sure we support their effort. Because this is, again, I've always said, this is not a party thing. This is not an administration thing. This is a Liberia thing. When Liberia wins, we all win, no matter what party or institution or affiliation you are with. And this is why I came on board to support the fundraising effort. I was challenged to raise $1 million to support the effort. And also, not just the campaign team movement across the world to solicit support or votes, but also at the end of May, there will be a closing campaign, I don't want to say campaign rally, but for the lack of better description, or as we say in the PR world, better district, for the lack of better description, I would say a campaign finale event in New York, which is slated for May 28th. That's going to take place in New York. And then on June 7th, I'm just sorry, June 2nd, not 7th, June 2nd will be the voting day. We need to secure 125 votes. We are very close, Liberia is very, very close to obtain 125 votes, but we're not going to just stop at getting 125 votes and sit down and say, okay, everything is over. And then on election day, we realize, oh, that person didn't show up to vote, then we lose. We are going to go above 125 votes. And so raising these funds to support our campaign team, to support the campaign finale, and to make sure all of our votes are secured on June 2nd, we need to raise some money. And so we brought this to the public, to everyone who considers themselves a well-meaning Liberian. Whether you're a Liberian or not, whether you're outside the diaspora or you're here at home, we're asking for your support. Many of the ministers, the cabinet members, friends of Liberia, the business community have contributed what they can to the event. The event is slated for this Saturday, May 3rd at 5 p.m. We'll be gathered at the Executive Pavilion. His Excellency, the President of the Great Republic of Liberia, will be present. He is the host of the evening. We look forward to having everyone there. We reached out to Madam Sirleaf, we reached out to former President Ware, we reached out to everyone. The invitations went out to everyone. And so we're not discriminating on who we're reaching out to. This is a Liberia thing. This is not a partisan thing. This is not an administration thing. We all win. That's the motto. So we're encouraging everyone to come out. I'm sure many of you have a lot of questions for me. I'm sure there'll be a Q&A session. But again, I want to thank the Minister Pia and Deputy Minister Sando for having me over here today. Me and my team. My team are here. And we look forward to having a successful fundraiser on Saturday. And after Saturday, we plan to put, this is not money, it's not shopping business yet. This is for Liberia. And every dollar donated will be accounted for. And you will get a receipt at the end of the day. And those receipts will be put together and handed over to the minister, and I'll probably be handed over to my boss, His Excellency, Joseph Boakai, to show complete transparency and accountability for every dollar received. With this, I want to say thank you to everyone who has already contributed. Some people have been amazing. There have been contributions that came in from across the world. A lot of our agencies, the SOEs, have come up and said we will give this amount. And so people, Liberians have been wonderful. Liberians have been incredible. Our business community have been so supportive. Liberians alike, as well as non-Liberians, have been really supportive. So thank you. God bless all of you, and God bless this great nation called Liberia.
Thank you, Madam Senior Political Advisor to the President. We will now call on Mr. Boakai. Mr. Boakai will speak. Mr. Pia. Mr. Pia, would you like to say something after? Mr. Boakai will speak, and then we'll take questions from members of the press.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. When I'm in church, even when in church, if I say amen, I gotta say amen. That we will find food at the end of the day or at the end of the hour is okay. But we got people who go to bed hungry at night with no hope of even finding food the next day. So I'd like to stand here to tell you something about the National Food Assistance Agency. That the activity of the National Food Assistance Agency was overtaken by SUP. There was an organization called SUP that was distributing food during the war. And then over a period of time, it became dormant. It was not until the COVID period that the government at the time, under President George Weah, recognized the fact of the National Food Assistance Agency, and he brought on Executive Order number 110. Last year, and Mr. Elton Dixon, the Deputy for Operations, 2 rooms. but the 3 senior officials, a Muslim home for the disabled in Claratown, being put out to restore and rehabilitate the 5 warehouses that were used during the Ebola crisis. They are located in Lofa, Grangetown, Maryland, Grand Bassa, and Bond counties. So with our work with the GSA, we have to rehabilitate those warehouses and then be prepared with food that's stationed there. We're also working along with the National Disaster Management Agency because they are the ones that go there when there's flood or fire. We are the ones who go there to sustain, and that's what we are working along with them. We're also working with the Ministry of Education. We are encouraging homegrown school feeding. Standing before you, I'm a proud recipient of school feeding. When I went to elementary school, and I can say this, I'm proud to say that I went to elementary school for 3 reasons. 1 was because of the food, 2 was to play with my friends, and 3 was the education. My education took over. But can you imagine sitting in class and don't know where your next meal is coming from? That's the kind of thing we need to do, because if you want to get the attention of the student, let him know that he got a recess. Let him know that he had breakfast before coming. There are a lot of students who go to school and don't have breakfast. They come from school and then they gotta go hustle to get that evening food, or the evening show as they call it. So we are here today to talk about the National Food Assistance Agency. We're located in Fiamma and we are open to everybody. Our mantra is that we are on the front line in the war on hunger, and that no member of the population of any Liberian should go to bed hungry. One of the things that we're working on, which is a future venture, is a food stamp system where people will be given food stamps like in developed countries that they can go and purchase what they want. But to do that, we have to build our foundation, which is what we're working on. And we call on everybody, the ministries, our partners, our friends, to come in to assist us, because this is not a one-man job. So we want to say thank you, and I'm open to questions from you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Sully. We will now open the floor for questions from the fourth estimate. You will ask a question to the speaker. That question for the Ministry of Information, please also direct your question to us, and we'll have the opportunity to respond to those questions. If you have questions, please come in the line.
Thank you, Minister Samuel. Please introduce yourself and the institution you vote for, and 1 question to the speaker, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. I'm Ishmael Logan, and I work for Punch FM. And firstly, my question to Mr. Samuel. Last evening, the Executive Protection Service, released a statement threatening to withdraw the security detail of individuals or officials who threaten the peace of the country. And does that statement reflect the view of the government? And to Madam Kubo, you care to tell us how many countries or how many people that you have secured on this day to get a number of UN Security Council? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Kubo. Thank you for your deliberation. I admire you so much. My question that you have to do with the time former Vice President Joy Hamilton. She did make a statement that she's going to create hostility if the President of Liberia does not follow the method of the Supreme Court of Liberia. You bring the political advisor to the President of Liberia. What is your thought? Looking at our country that is polarized with some days about the young people. What is your thought? And don't you think that the former Vice President needed to have been called for questioning? Thank you.
Well, good afternoon.
My name is Kura Thompson from Liberia newspaper. The first question goes to Mr. Sadiq. What do you hope to achieve from the rehabilitation of the two warehouses from the Ebola crisis? What do you hope to achieve? And Madam Cooper, well, during the first national launch, you invited former President Macdella, and he did not show up. And following that, you heard a lot of critics from the public. And again, you are inviting him. I mean, what are your intent? What actually are you trying to prove here? Thank you.
Thanks for coming. My name is Desmond William, and I report for Democracy Watch. That's the political senior advisor to the president, Madam Macdella Cooper. Thanks very kindly. You explained a whole lot about the non-permanency of our country. Specifically, where is the country in regards to the entire fundraising? Have you been able, as a master of this fundraising, have you been able to raise funds over the time? And how much is the money have you raised? And to the theme from the other of the food sector, it is a privilege for me to meet you for the very first time. And the basic concern, especially when it comes to the institution strain, when you complain about squatting at a time to public work, how much did the government place into the budget for that institution? And was there any turnover note from your predecessor been able to influence some of the transformation that you have carried out? And lastly, to the official spokesperson of the government, in your explanation, you acknowledge that the president has established the World Economic Crime Code, which is good. The full functionality of the code is key. Speaking about the code not being fully funded as one of the major problems, and also the issue of administrative issues. How do the government reconcile the fight against war laws when the institution that has been established to fight these people, bringing perpetrated the book, is struggling, financially struggling to the dustbin, and without hope for justice of who perpetrated crimes over time? How do the government stand to fight these war crimes when the people who are supposed to fight it do not have the money, but you have established the office? Thank you.
Larry SKP and I input for Pana FM. Three concerns quickly to Madam Cooper. Thanks for your explanation. When people give out money or when they support a particular initiative, they would like to know the intent or the purpose of which you are calling them to support. We may talk about the bill, but the purpose for which you are seeking the money or the fund. And when you elaborate on that, to Mr. Salid, I want to know, when do you give out food? They say when there is an emergency, or is it something that is you do normally? And then to Minister Sino, the University of Liberia was able to dismiss some employees as a result of giving out fake degree to Dr. Cooper. Now the individual talking about is in this government serving as Inspector General of the Common Ministry. And the university already said that the degree he has is fake. Is your government thinking to maybe take action? Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, Cooper. My name is Samdas Bakima, representing from FM. My question here is, what is your anticipated budget for the fundraising that night? And what are other programs do we expect to?
Other
Yes, I have one question. I'm Joseph Sally, I report for Macdella TV. Madam Ambassador, there are a lot of questions out there. Many people still believe how prepared are we in having this non-permanent seat with all of these threats coming from political leaders from the opposition. How prepared are we as a country?
Thank you. Those are other questions.
Very, very, very good questions. The Oma holds which got wake classes will forgive me. Let me start with the gentleman that asked the last question regarding how prepared Liberia is to obtain this non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. Liberia remains prepared. Liberia is very prepared. Irrespective or irregardless of noise, unnecessary noise and things that we go through, look, this is all part of the nation growing, nation building. We are going to have these distractions, but we have to know how to stay focused on the agenda to move this nation forward. Because 100 years from now, when our great-grandchildren or our future generations are looking back at Liberia, they're not going to look at the little small noise, the mosquito that flew in the ears, and all these little minor distractions. Our grandkids are going to be reading, or the next generation will be reading, information about who were the heroes and the sheroes, who did what to help this country, not those idiots who are just making unnecessary noise. And so we're not looking at all of those distractions. We're focused. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, under the leadership of Sarah Bethel Yeti, is very prepared to move Liberia into this non-permanent seat of the United Nations Security Council. And so we are all here to support her. The executive mansion supports her, the entire government supports her, the Liberian people supports her, and so we are prepared. And we are to the next question regarding where are we with regards to the number of votes we have obtained so far. The last count I heard was about 119, and again, we have a few more countries to go to solicit their vote and their support. And so with 119, and we have a month to go for the election, look, we're going to do this. It would just depend on Liberians who are just showing positive energy towards the effort. We got to remain positive. Again, nation building is not an easy thing. Every nation have gone through what we're going through, and some of them have gone so far out towards development. We're not the first one. We're not going to be the last one. Again, but we have to stay focused. And that's one thing I like about my boss, my president. He is a very focused man. All of the mosquito can be in there. Yeah, you're not listening to mosquito noise. You're not listening to mosquito noise because mosquito, when they jump in malaria, go kill malaria. So, His Excellency Joseph Boakai is a very focused man. He's a very focused leader. Yes, of course, he's also very patient and he will tolerate a lot of things because that's part of democracy. That's part of what his job requires. Be patient with those who don't understand peace. They need for security in your country. They need to speak positively so that investors can come and partner with us. You know, some people just feel if it's not my time, I'm going to make all the unnecessary noise so that investors don't come here. But who are they hurting? Is it just one side of Liberia they're hurting? They're hurting everyone at the end of the day. But again, this administration, I'm not here to speak on behalf of the administration. We have a spokesperson, but I will tell you, as a political advisor to the president, he is very serious about his administration. He is very serious about Liberia, and he's very serious about his work. So for those who believe they can cause problems in this country and get away with it, his patient eventually will run out, and they will have to suffer the consequences of what they're trying to do to this country. We have got to be positive. And to all of you in the media as well, it is your duty as statesmen and women, you're behind the camera, to make sure you don't just filter any sort of information to the public. You gotta make sure you promote this country. You having on camera in your hand is not just, oh, that person go there, won't. She have naked, all of that person, they'll fall out the shimo. It's to promote your nation in the best light so that investors come to this country. So that we can have the best coming here. We're promoting tourism. We're promoting investment. We're promoting Liberia as a place of a destination for pleasure. When I say pleasure, meaning fun. People are looking for time off from their work. They can come to Liberia to celebrate, to hang out here with us and spend their money. So this is your responsibility as well. Not just to report bad stories all the time. And so I will leave that now and go on to the next question. But it is really all of our responsibility to make sure we're not just reporting anything we see. Because the great United States of America has poverty. I have gone to places in the United States of America, people don't even got teeth in their mouth. People don't even, their children look worse than African children. I have gone to places in America where people living in cars. I used to live in New York City for 20 years. They put homeless people on the streets of New York City today. But do you see America making that the media agenda? Never. So young people, I speak to you today just to say you have a role to play. Just as I do. When I go out there, I put the best Liberian face forward. I speak in my big English, I know. But when I go to my grandma's house, that's small group I can lay down. So with that, all jokes aside, I just really want to appeal to all of you, our children in the media, to make sure you're not just reporting any old nonsense that becomes the story of your country. And so let me go to the next question. How much have you raised so far? I don't know yet. We'll do the numbers and come back to you and report. I'm looking forward to raising $1 million to the young lady's question. Our targeted goal is $1 million to support the campaign team. And someone else asked, what exactly would that money be used for besides Liberia's bid? That's the only reason why that money is going to be used. It's going to be used only for Liberia's bid for the non-permanent seat at the United Nations Security Council. There will be no other use for that funds. So Minister Bestel is going to collect the funds through her ministry and do with it what is necessary pertaining to Liberia's bid for the non-permanent seat. What was the next question? Why invite former President Ware? Because this is Liberia. The last time I checked, President Ware was a citizen of Liberia. Whether he comes, he doesn't come, it's up to him. But we were still inviting him. Right? Isn't that the right thing to do? Yeah. It is the right thing to do to invite every citizen and child of Liberia. He is the son of Liberia. He is the former president. And so we're inviting, whether he comes or not, you guys will be the one, you'll be in the room. You will know whether he came to honor his country's request as a former president. Madam Sharif came, she supported us in New York. She launched the campaign in New York with His Excellency. And I'll tell you that much, young people, it was a beautiful moment, even for me, who have seen a lot of things in his life. It was a beautiful thing to see Madam Sharif and His Excellency Boakai standing together, hand in hand, hugging each other. It made me so proud to be a Liberian. We don't always have to be at odds. We can be leaders. We can put politics aside and support our country. Because again, this is the only blue dot we have. This is the only piece of the real estate on earth we call home. We can't call another country home, but this is it. So we all have to sometimes put politics aside and just support Mama Liberia. That's why some of us left the diaspora. We left everything we knew before to come home and bathe out of buckets. We're not all get shower in our house. We're not going to get down. We can use a bucket. Liberia is a lovely place. We the Liberian people, we are beautiful people. We are smart, we're intelligent, we're everything to be successful. We're ready. It's just up to us. Whether we can sometimes just forget politics, forget political party, and work together to say, you know what? Liberia is bidding for a seat at the United Nations Security Council. No matter what that thing that Joseph Boakai administration is in power right now, and Joseph Bogai's administration is leading the chart on this, we will support it. We will support it. And that's the energy we have to bring to Liberia. Always Liberia first. Always. Let's see how many more questions we have here. Somebody else asked about Joe Howard's Tiller. Joe Tiller, what's that? Joe Tiller Howard? Joe Howard Tiller. Sorry, man. I'm just teasing. Madam Tiller's statement. I didn't listen to Madam Tiller's statement because you get to plug your ear with everything. Again, I'm Macdella Cooper. I'm here to look at the positive side of Liberia and what we can do to build this nation. I didn't leave my good life abroad that I had the opportunity to live. to come to listen to negative things. I don't dwell in negative spaces. I dwell in spaces where people offer solutions to Liberia's problem. We have thousands, if not millions, of young people in this country who are looking for an opportunity, who want to be somebody and something. Whatever doesn't get them there, I don't care to listen to this nonsense. We're looking for opportunity for our young people to go abroad, to study, to be part of the competition of technology. You know, there's a whole technological world going out there. People are going to space and Mars and all those things. You think I get out of this? That's why I'm stating about things that doesn't produce anything for our young people. Our mothers and our fathers who are retired don't have money to live a decent retirement life. These are the things Macdella Cooper thinks about. And these are the things we should be thinking about. Opportunities for the next generation, so that we who came before you can live a better life than we met it. So anyone who's here to talk negatively about this country or burn Capitol buildings down or all the good things, look, I'm from River G County. I'm from Yinakin, Webber District. For the first time in my life, we have a road going straight to my village. I told my president about that. I said, the only thing I told my president, I love you, but the only thing you're not doing, I'm causing a problem. Because they go to my village and y'all show up to my house after 7 hours. Now you're not there for River G people there. These are some of the great things His Excellency is doing in this country. And I will always support anyone and anybody who's doing something positive. The rest of you ask me a question about it because I don't care to listen to this mosquito noise. I think that's the question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Kuba, I can't be there for big footstep for me. I can't step. Okay. Somebody asked about what is the achievement in rehabilitating the warehouses. We got something in logistics they call power basis. You position these things so that in time of disaster or in time of emergency, you can use them. That's why, according to what Legis gave us during the Ebola crisis, by the way, I worked for GSA at the time during the Ebola crisis, so we knew what to do. So we believe now at the National Food Assistance Agency that those warehouses shouldn't get sit idle. We should pre-position food items there so that when the need comes, we are already there to do that. So I hope I answered that question. And then the other person asked about the strength in the budget. When we took over last year, the budget was $124,000 and only for salaries. There were not there for paper or pen or nothing. And the budget is an open book, it's not hidden, you can go there. We've been fortunate that our budget was raised to $600,000 through our effort and our strategic discussion with the minister, pointing out our program. We didn't just want a budget that will be raised that we cannot utilize. And our offices are open. You are welcome anytime to come there. When do we give up food? Was the question asked by the last gentleman. We don't do it only in emergency. No, we don't do it only in emergency. We do it as funds are available and as requests come in. So anybody who's interested, right, the National Food Assistance Agency will do an assessment of your area or your needs, and then we'll be able to see how we can work with a partner to provide the feed. And those are the 3 questions I would ask. So I answered them. Unless you got
Thank you. All right.
So the questions that were directed to Mr. Sando, he will answer. There's a particular question that was asked, which I want to take care of. And that has to do with the statement from the EPS. Mr. Gale is the director of the EPS. You may see things from the perspective of his work, and you want to say something about that. But whatever is going on in one part of the government affects the government as a whole.
Mr. Gay is currently not in the country. We believe it would not be a proper thing to do say anything about what he said until we spoke unto him. So the government is looking at what he said, and eventually, as a spokesperson of the government, I will have to come back to you and say what will happen. But at the moment, just allow it to remain as it is. You will still see the EPS officers assigned to all those people they are assigned to, about as to whether they will be withdrawn if the S was there. We'll have a conversation with him upon his return and sort of what the issues are. But we'll not say what he said is wrong or disagreed with. No, we'll not do that until we have spoken to him as a government. Let me just start before I take my seat. You know, a lot is taking place, as I've always said, all across the country. Somebody told you now that even streets are being paved in Kakatan. Do you believe it? Yes. Somebody told you how much progress has been made on the road leading to Zimbabwe, where I live, where I'm driving from every day. It will amaze you. We're not patching the roads. And we're not keeping it narrow. It's expanding the portion that has been handled, go there and see. So one of the things we decided to do is this. On Wednesday of next week, we'll do a nighttime bus tour. We want you to see how the city looks in the night. We've seen a lot of jubilation as to how Red Line looks, how GSA Road looks, how Depot Road looks. The expansion of lighting across the city is ongoing. We see there is a talk that says, see is believing. Those who live in those communities are seeing so, but it is something for the entire country to see. So you press people as signs here at MICAT. We'll do a bus tour on Wednesday, in the night. And then on Friday, we'll do our daytime road tour. We'll visit all the ongoing road construction that are taking place. And we intend to also reach Kakata where the streets are being paved. If we had the energy and the time, we'll go see what is being done on the Macdella to Ramos Sports road that is also being paved. So much is taking place. Just so much. So if there are people who say they will cause chaos, I'm sure they've seen what the reaction is from the citizens themselves. I said to you at the last press conference, chaos will bring destruction. Lives will be lost. Properties will be destroyed. And it's not something that has been made up because we have a history. The last time chaos came to this country, 250,000 souls perished. You cannot forget that. As I go across the room, yes, I see a few elder persons, but many of you are so young. To the extent that I don't believe you experienced that chaos. And that's not something you wish to, because just looking at your television, look in Gaza, you see what's happening, look in Yemen, and other places where we have crisis. See how women, children, and elderly are being murdered. Is there anyone among you who want that in Liberia? I'd like to stand against people who make those kinds of reckless threats. Especially people who should be accounting for their role in the past. The chaos reign here. They will still paying them, right? Because they managed to have served in different positions. Are we paying them every month for being vice president before? And additionally paying them for being senator before. Many of you can't even have food to feed your children, your families, but the people will pay. Even though they blamed on government for the past 35 to 40 years, we still paying them. They are threatening you with chaos. Like I said the other day, you have a government that is very cognizant of what our responsibilities are. The primary among them is to protect lives and property, and will do so at all costs, irrespective of who issues the threat to our people in our country. Thank you. The understanding will have to ensure that two events that have been announced, the Nelson Bus Tour on Wednesday, and the Daytime Road Tour on Friday next week.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. So, Minister responded to the first question brilliantly. Desmond asked, how does the government end the culture of impunity when the office established for the establishment of the war crime code is struggling? The first thing that is important to end impunity is a commitment and political will on the part of the government. That is being clearly exhibited. The Liberian Civil War ended how many years ago? Over 20 years. One president after the other politicized war crime culture. The only leadership, the only president who saw the need to take that bold step was President Boakai. And in further commitment to that bold step, he has renewed the executive order, thereby giving the office, headed by Executive Director, Councilor Chalaba, the freedom to operate. So there may be challenges, resource constraints, but it doesn't in any way stop the establishment of the code. The code that the government wants to establish is not a code that will reflect criminal proceedings on Capitol Hill. No, or the Temple of Justice. It's a code that will operate under international laws. So what you need is the local commitment which has already been exhibited. So the president reviewed the order. The first war power to issue statement was the U.S. Embassy. That shows that they are committed to helping us accomplish our goal. So there can be no doubt the commitment and support of the government headed by His Excellency President Boakai is available to the office for the establishment of the War Economic Crimes Code. Or is the government considering dismissing Mr. Doko? I don't want to put up any justification for him, but an act was committed at the University of Liberia. Actions are being taken. Actions have been taken. And the university has dealt with it. And those who were complicit in the act of fraudulently awarding him a degree, they have been dismissed from the University of Liberia. Whether the government of Liberia will dismiss him, I can speak to that because it is an authority not vested with the Ministry of Information. So the University of Liberia has acted the same way we allow the university authority to investigate, and culpability was established in those who have found liable or have been dealt with. If need be, or get the information, we'll speak to it. As it stands, we can't say anything about whether the president is contemplating on dismissing him for those actions. That being said, let me, okay.
There are issues that are border on presidential discretion. There's fire who remains on the job, the prerogative of the president. And that president has a spokesperson. Whenever a determination is made about the situation, you just ask and show the press secretary to make that known to the public. Let me just say also, Madam Cooper is a senior political advisor to the president, which means she works with the executive mansion. What she's doing is to complement our financial capacity as we bid for the Security Council seat, the non-permanent seat. She came here purposely to talk to you on what she's doing to raise funds. I could see that there were many overlapping and cross-cutting questions that you asked that should have been asked directly to the Minister of Foreign Affairs. So if you didn't feel addressed in the responses you gave, you can clear those doubts with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Our role was to tell you what she's doing to help us raise money that will campaign for that seat. Sometimes we gotta be sensitive to who the guests are, where they come from, and to tailor our questions accordingly. Thank you.
So the next time tour on next Wednesday will be coordinated by the Public Affairs Department. We'll communicate with the MICAT Press Association. You know, everything we do, we have to incorporate our reporters because they are the one who are leading the charge in highlighting the work that we do. And I see a lot of people, members of the public, are very satisfied with the work being on their initial information. We'll do that on Wednesday, and then on Friday, the road tour will also be organized. Of course, you'll be a part of it. Transportation and everything will be available so that you can take your cameras to where the projects are being undertaken so that the public can see beyond this podium what the government is doing to improve the infrastructure of the situation in this country. We will post for photographs.
So thanks for watching. This is Overall on TV. My name is Wyatt. And we'll end the pleasant weekend. Do join us on Tuesday for another edition of the regular press brief. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.